All right, everybody. It's time to take a look at Italy. Italy is the fifth country to go in Axis and Allies Anniversary Edition. That is true whether you are doing a 1942 setup or a 1941, as we are in this scenario. In fact, Italy's setup is pretty much exactly the same, except I think they have an extra infantry and an extra tank, or maybe an extra infantry and an extra artillery in Italy itself. Everything else they have is exactly the same, and they go in the same spot in the turn order, fifth, which means that Germany goes before them as well as England, and what those two countries, oh, and the Soviet Union too, but the Soviet Union probably is not going to really impact Italy a whole lot down here. But all those big countries go before you. So you need to look and see what the world looks like. You do have a sizable navy here. You don't have a ton of production with which you can rebuild a damaged navy, but you do start with a fair amount. So there are a few things to look at. Let's just start in the south here. Did Germany take out Egypt? And did England, I guess the more important question is, who controls Egypt on your turn? Germany, maybe they took it, maybe England took it back, maybe Germany didn't attack it at all, it's still in England's hands, maybe Germany attacked it and held it. So the question is, what does this situation look like? Because if Germany took it and held it, you could potentially come in and take Transjordan, and now Germany can go this way if it wants to, you could go this way, or you could open this up and Germany could be in Persia by the end of its second turn. Or if England maybe counterattacked and took Germany out, if Germany took Egypt, England probably is not going to be very strong. You could then take Egypt back from them. Now, if Germany didn't attack it and England reinforced, then you probably are not going to be strong enough. You do have these two infantry, and you do have a transport and 3 coastal bombardments, 2 cruisers, 1 battleship, but that probably is not going to be enough, especially if they are reinforced with 1 or 2 guys from Transjordan. But if Germany did attack here, regardless of what England did, if they took it back, you can probably take it from England. England will be too weak. If they didn't, then you can come in here, take Transjordan, if there isn't anything else you need to do. Now, more than likely, Germany will have taken out this British fleet, and we don't need to worry about it. If for some reason they didn't do that, then we especially need to be aware of where the German transport is, because we're probably going to need to protect it, whether it's over here or they moved it up here. If at all possible, we'll want to protect that. Now, let's say they did move it up here. Germany will have made some moves this way, and the Soviet Union will have counterattacked. We might be in a position where we can come in. If the Soviets only have 1 or 2 guys left in Ukraine, we could clear that out, which means German forces don't have to focus on it. If the Soviets moved a lot of their guys from Caucasus up forward and didn't reinforce it enough, we could take Caucasus. That probably is not going to be doable, but if the Soviet player isn't paying attention to this transport and all these coastal bombardments that we have, then that might be a possibility for us. And let me see, just counting spaces, 1, 2, 3. If somehow Germany still controls Ukraine and Caucasus is vulnerable, then we could even get a fighter into the cause. It would have to land in Ukraine, but we could potentially do that. Now, England, more than likely, its navy is going to be up here because this is going to be destroyed, and so we're not going to need to worry about it. If there is a British navy down here, then we'll want to make sure that we don't leave our transport vulnerable. I mean, we're probably going to be moving our entire navy together, but and we're probably going to want to move it either over here or down here regardless. But if we built a transport on our turn, we just need to be aware, hey, if we put this transport here and this navy is still lurking around, they could come in here and take it out. We need to be very aware of that. Now, let's say we move our fleet away and England does decide to come in for whatever reason, whether we left ourselves vulnerable or we didn't and for some reason they just want to come in here. We can counterattack with our whole fleet and a fighter. And that assumes that Germany doesn't want to spend anything to take it out. Now, granted, Germany is going to have a lot that it needs to do up here. They'll probably be very thankful if we deal with whatever situation is down here. But they could potentially throw something in that direction if England just has a destroyer or something like that. But we will want to look as the Italian player at ways that we can deal with this situation so Germany can focus on things that are much more important. And that is the story of Italy, especially early in game. This is your world right here. You've got North Africa, and you've got Russia, and you've got if the Allies are trying to do anything annoying over here, which again they probably won't. So you're mainly going to be focused here. In these two areas. Now you do have some guys up here, and you can start moving them forward if you don't need them for a transport. You can move them forward to help reinforce Germany, or to do a 1-2 punch with Germany as well. You can always load, as long as they're in a coastal territory, you can always load them up in a transport later. The only place you can put new units is Italy, so as long as your transport's somewhere down here, you should always be able to move one space to come back to it, and then one space to go wherever else you need to go. So those are my thoughts on Italy.